we're standing in front of a restoration of the north branch of Muddy Creek.
Muddy Creek was a pretty degraded stream channel. Gosh, it was probably 10, 12 feet deep in some areas.
It had gotten deeply eroded. It was about 10 feet down from its floodplain.
And during the biggest rainstorm, the stream never got out of bank and never connected with the floodplain that was adjacent to it.
We're pretty sure that the reason it got eroded is because of the construction of the highway that's upstream of here. There's a broad floodplain that the highway crossed, but they just put a culvert in one spot to allow the water to pass under the road and continue on downstream. And that effectively focused the water into a narrow opening, and that made the water rush through with more force and caused the stream to become eroded. It wouldn't flood over the banks anymore. It was confined to a narrow ditch-like channel. That meant that the water would go through there in fast pulses, and so it just continued to erode.
So the Road River is impacted by some urbanization on the North Shore on Mayo, where you've got suburban development essentially. But then most of the watershed really is agricultural, either the Cirque property or surrounding properties. And it's got some water quality issues.
A lot of it's forested, maybe 50%. It has a small percentage of cropland in it, a little bit of residential land. In a way, it's atypical of the deeply eroded streams that we find around Maryland.
There's been a lot of changes on the landscape here at Cirque, which is in southern Anne Arundel County. It's all of the agriculture and the deforestation, which contributed to a lot of sediments really being mobilized, and they deposited here in these flat lowlands as we get closer to tidewater. What you had prior to that was a series of wetlands that existed in these lowland areas.
Our problem in these watersheds now is all the fine unconsolidated sediments that have clogged up everything.
It's not a good habitat for stream organisms because the current velocities are so high, suspended sediment concentrations can be so high.
Probably a result of all of that farming practice.
Historically, stormwater management consisted of basically collecting and conveying stormwater off the developed landscape, off roads, off rooftops, off yards, putting it into a pipe system and then getting it vented out to the nearest natural system as quickly as we could in an effort really to just minimize flooding. In the last 10, 15 years, there's been a greater focus on trying to both address flooding as well as water quality improvements.
A lot of the restoration work that was done previously had to do with stability, making sure that the streams themselves were stable, that they weren't eroding any further.
We wanted to restore the connection between the stream and its floodplain.
Because the floodplain and the riparian area are all part of the stream system and all contribute to the stream system. So looking at that system as a whole is one way of really looking at stream restoration and getting the best benefit for the dollar that we can.
And there have been a lot of different ways of restoring streams. The way we chose is called the regenerative stormwater conveyance.
It's not an engineered system in the sense of many others. It's much more natural looking and it is solid.
We opted to raise the stream till it became closer to the floodplain so that during a high flow event, the stream could flow out over its banks.
The water was able to be slowed down. We were able to rehydrate these floodplain soils, really restore a lot of the wetlands that existed here at one time in the past.
Contemporary stream restoration methods that we're using and employing have been in place in Anne Arundel County for about 15 years now and have evolved, but are really focused more on trying to retain water on the landscape, slow it down, create wetland and stream complexes, really to mimic sort of like our beaver dam systems.
Lets the sediment come out of the water. The nutrients can be taken up by the trees or the microorganisms in the soil on the floodplain.
Severn River Keeper has done 8 total projects in the last 15 years, all of them regenerative approach, based upon habitat restoration as the foundation. And in order to stop stormwater, you've got to rebuild the ecosystem that's been destroyed.
You provide that opportunity for that water to get out into the landscape, to seep back into the ground, rehydrate those soils in the floodplain, bring up the groundwater levels.
So that we can turn our stream valleys into areas where we've got a lot of water that's being processed both through the ground as well as through the vegetation that's in these systems. That we could get sort of these natural engineers to be doing some of the work for us in addition to the work that we're doing ourselves.
To improve the stream habitat, but also to intercept and remove nutrients like nitrogen and phosphorus, and also suspended sediments, and stop them from going downstream and getting into Chesapeake Bay.
What's really exciting about this project is it's a laboratory for these wonderful scientists who can study it.
This stream restoration really fits into a larger context for research at the Smithsonian Environmental Research Center. Right from the beginning of the center, when it was formed in the mid-1960s, people recognized that it was in a perfect location to study the connection between the land and the water.
We became interested in this project because we need to see more projects like this going in the ground successfully. And the fact that this could be studied, the information from it can only help all of us in all of our watersheds.
So we can look at what comes off of the land and goes into the water and how that affects the living things in the water.
Regulators and resource managers are interested in monitoring and understanding regenerative stream channel approach.
They've got over 45 years of data on that tributary.
Well, back in the mid-70s, a series of stream monitoring stations were set up all around the parts of the watershed that CERC owns, including a station on Muddy Creek itself.
Folks here at the Smithsonian had the opportunity to look at what was going on here at this site prior to the restoration taking place.
We need to get the projects in the ground and document its efficacy. The issue is getting enough money to study.
One of the big motivators for restoring streams around here is to try to reduce the inputs of nitrogen, phosphorus, and suspended solids into Chesapeake Bay.
What we really try to do with a project like this is to maintain those seepy conditions that these floodplains, really had. And those are really good habitats for a lot of different species and things like salamanders and other amphibians.
We're really not trying to recreate the original stream before humans got here. What we want to do is restore some of the functionality to the stream.
The system kind of replicates beaver dams in a lot of ways. It's to really block the stream. That's done by placing some larger rock, cobbles in certain areas along the stream.
It's raising the stream instead of lowering the floodplain by adding particular kinds of fill into the eroded channel.
And maintain that water at a certain height.
So you had a layer that groundwater can flow through very rapidly. As the water drains through the gravel, it will allow the water flowing in the stream to diffuse downward through the sand and be drawn down towards the gravel. So that treats the sand layer as kind of a giant filter.
Most fascinating about this approach is that they literally can drive right down through the stream.
This is actually serving as a stable part of the haul road. Even though the rains have come and gone, this is providing a very stable place for the dump trucks as part of the construction process.
Put enough high-quality sand, wood chips, cobble in, and you create an incredible substrate.
Wood chips are there to provide organic matter to support bacteria that help remove nitrogen and phosphorus from the water.
Over the course of the past several years since the project's been implemented, researchers both from CERC and from DNR have been looking at the effects of the project both from a water quality standpoint as well as a biological standpoint.
Folks from the Maryland Department of Natural Resources are looking at the organisms that live in the stream, especially the macroinvertebrates, to see if the restoration is increasing the habitat value for these organisms.
The Maryland Biological Stream Survey, we sample in the springtime, usually March. That's when we'll collect the benthic macroinvertebrate sample and then come back in the summertime to collect fish, crayfish, freshwater mussels, some physical habitat measurement. And then we also put out temperature monitoring devices that we'll pick up in the fall. So really we're visiting these streams 3 times to collect all the data.
To see if the restoration is increasing the habitat value for these organisms. We have a paper in review at Ecological Engineering comparing the flow of nutrients and sediments into the stream and out the bottom, and documenting that the retention of those things has increased a lot.
Look and see what changes took place as a result of that restoration work.
Better understanding how these projects go together, what the impacts are.
Measure the effectiveness of a restored stream in removing the nutrients and the suspended solids We put automated samplers at the upstream end and the downstream end so we can measure at all times what's coming in and going out of the stream and compare the two.
And this guy will sample after a certain threshold of water volume has gone through. We have some carboys in here that will collect the water that we can take back to the lab and analyze for nutrients, total suspended sediment.
We happen to have a private foundation and donor who was interested in the science and willing to help pay the CERC scientists to do the pre-monitoring, during construction monitoring, and some post-construction monitoring.
So we can see what was going on before and after. By comparing them, we can see what the effect of the restoration was. And by comparing the upstream end and the downstream end, we can see how much nutrients and sediments are removed in the restored section of the stream. Initially, before the restoration, the stream was not doing very much to retain what it was getting. So effectively, what was coming in at the upstream end was just going back down out at the downstream end.
We're always trying to make sure that we're reducing those TMDL nutrients.
We were able to document a big increase in retention of different forms of nutrients in suspended solids.
What they found is pretty much what we expected. Water moved through here much differently post-restoration than it did prior to the restoration. Provides the opportunity to process. And that processing is what's necessary in order to get nutrient reductions and uptake and things like that.
An incredible 75% reduction in total suspended solids and a very high level of reduced nitrogen and phosphorus.
Documented in the restored reach, which is what we're aiming for in all these projects.
So we found about a 40% retention of phosphate and total phosphorus, ammonium, and total nitrogen.
It is definitely being productive as a type of approach.
Does a really good job of processing nutrients and things like that.
Going from close to zero to about 40% of what comes in at the top would get retained within the restored reach. Now that's an extremely high retention rate.
I like the way it looks. It looks very natural. There's lots of wildlife in here. There's all kinds of native plants and whatnot coming in here.
Kinds of projects like the one at CERC are projects that we're duplicating all over the county.
We have projects that were built 20 years ago, are more stable now than they were the day they were built.
We can't make the progress that we need to unless we do these projects at a large scale. That's just where we are at this point. There's so much work to be done.
I think the future is good. We have to do something.